Welcome to Creating Disney Magic with Lee Cockerell, lessons in leadership, management, and customer service. You can create magic too. I'm your host, Jody Mayberry, and I'm here with Lee Cockerell, of course. And for a show that claims we never have guests, we have a guest that hasn't been on just once before. I can't remember if this is number 9 or number 10. Our guest is Donald Miller.
At what point am I a co-host? That's what I
Yeah.
want to know.
Yeah, perhaps from this episode forward, we just won't
Our
even say you're a
co-host.
guest anymore.
Our co-host. That's right.
Our semi-occasional guest host, Donald Miller.
I like that because I like asking Lee questions more than I like answering questions.
We don't have you on to help you. We help us.
Yeah, that's right. Well, usually what prompts a return to the show from Donald is a new book, and there is a new book coming up shortly. But before we get to that, if I remember right, Donald, last time you were on, you were about to go to Disney World. So
We had a fantastic time. We brought we brought our 2-year-old. She wasn't even 2 at the time, and that actually we were worried about that, but that worked out fairly terrifically. And then we did that thing that you guys probably know about. It's some sort of VIP deal. We were only going to be there for 2 days. So one of those days, we all kind of split the tab on a VIP tour thing. And I highly recommend it because you can get about 3 days worth of Disney magic done in a day. And you actually say, I don't know if you save money, but you break even on that. And then we're doing it again in March. We liked it that much. So we're going to do 2 days, and in 2 days we'll get a week's worth of Disney done.
For you, smart.
yeah, those are fantastic. We've done VIP tours. I never invited Lee when my family did it, but it is a great way to experience the park. Did you stop and see Lee Cockerell's window on Main Street?
I did. I showed it to my family. I took a picture of it. I've got it on my phone.
You just screwed this thing. You just screwed this thing up because now you said it save money. They'll probably raise all the prices when they hear this.
Well, don't raise prices till after March.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, I mentioned there's a new book. Donald is just fantastic at putting. So I'll tell you this, Donald. I think, okay, someone that puts out so many books, eventually the is the quality going to keep up, or but your books are all fantastic. I don't know how you do it, how you keep putting out such great books every year.
Well, thanks for believing that. I am especially fond of this one because I think it solves a big problem a lot of people have. But I just try to get up every morning, do about 2.5 hours of writing, and if you do that, you can kind of keep the quality up. Although I've got a new book that I think is going to take 2 years. These books normally take me a year. I think the one I'm working on now is going to take a lot longer. But yeah, just keep getting up and doing it again, and I love it.
Yeah, well,
that's what Mia Angelou told me. I met her once, and we were talking about writing books, and I said, "How do you do this?" She said, "I rent a hotel room. I don't tell anybody where I'm going, and I get up, and I go there every day, and I write." And
wow,
the book.
So she goes and checks in at a hotel.
Yeah,
that's actually kind of brilliant. That's really interesting because you could do room service if you need to and just keep going.
Yeah.
John Prine wrote his last record before he died. John Prine, the musician John Prine. He wrote his last record at the Omni Hotel in Nashville. I mean, at some of it, at least he edited it there, and I thought that was interesting. Yeah, I go to Stay Golden Coffee Shop and drink coffee and eat biscuits and gravy and right.
The public library is a good place too. It's quiet, nobody bothers you. But I think that getting away from distractions and
no, that's true.
Scheduling. I did when I wrote mine. I wrote every morning from 8:30 to 10:30, 7 days a week. Just and next thing you know, you're done.
So. I know, and you kind of get into it like trying to solve a puzzle, and your head gets into it. What stinks is you get on a plane, you go somewhere, you come back, you got to go. I told my assistant once that writing a book is like being 30,000 feet down in the ocean, and if you make me come up, it takes me a long time to get back down there. So you got to leave me down there.
A lot of mental discipline to do it.
Yeah.
One of my favorite
most authors don't finish their books.
It's true.
No, I bet you it's 1 in 10, and that would be a generous number. It's probably more like 1 in 50.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I love the encouragement. I know the story, the encouragement and prompts you kept giving Bob Goff to write his first book. And then look at the impact that book and his others had. But he may not have finished that one without you, Don.
I don't know. He's a pretty disciplined guy. He might have grinded out and got it done. I haven't helped
Yeah.
him since, and he's gotten a lot of books done since
That's
then.
true. Well, one of my favorite places to visit is Bimini in the Bahamas. And Ernest Hemingway
Yeah.
wrote one or two of his books there. And he used to stay in a hotel. And even when his family came, they would stay in a house. He would stay in a hotel. That way he could write. And then he'd spend his time with them and go back to his hotel.
Yep. Yep. Same thing in Key West. He would do the same thing. He'd just work on it every single day. Spend time with the kids in the afternoon.
I think it worked out okay for him.
I think so. We'll see. Time will tell.
Yeah, time will tell. Well, Donald's new book is Coach Builder: How to Turn Your Expertise into a Profitable Coaching Career. So, Don, a lot of your books leading up to this one were about business. After building a story brand on, it's been about the business specifically, and now the turn into coaching, which I think is fabulous. Lee does some coaching, not much. I do some coaching, but this book goes right in on that. What led the turn into coaching?
I wrote a bunch of business frameworks and certified coaches to teach them to small business owners. And every one of those coaches pretty much would kind of turn around and say, "Hey, love coaching this stuff. How do I get a client? And how much do I charge them? And how do I promote myself? And how can I, what can I sell them?" And I thought, okay, well, we've got 300 of these coaches now. We'll have 800 by the end of the year. And all of them have this problem. Maybe this is an issue. So I sat down to write a PDF. Here's kind of how you promote yourself, and here's how you create a menu of products. Here's approximately what you should charge for those. Here's the products that don't tend to work based on all the wisdom I generated from 20 years of coaching myself and then knowing so many coaches. That PDF I thought would be up 5-7 pages. 250 pages later, I realized, all right, this is a book, and called my team and said, hey, I think this is the next book. And that book comes out March 12th. It has already sold more copies than any book I've written in pre-orders. And so apparently there's a felt need. In fact, I emailed John Maxwell, who's a dear friend and an absolutely wonderful human being, and said, hey, would you mind endorsing this? And his team, I don't think he emailed back, but his team emailed back and said, love to endorse it, but we want to buy copies for 50,000 coaches that we've certified because
goodness.
if they read it, they're going to sell more of John Maxwell's frameworks. And so okay, we're on to something. And so the book is 8 steps that you need to take if you want to pivot to a coaching business or if you want to grow a coaching business. And here's why it's so big on my heart. I work with a writer right now. I've never hired a writer to work with me on a book, but there was a unique guy. His name is Mark. I won't share anything other than that because his story is a little bit personal, but he writes for a magazine, and he's my age, but he's got a 14-year-old at home. He travels about 16 weeks out of the year. He's gone. So his 14-year-old's at home, and he writes. He's a sports writer. And I said, hey, you could actually stay home and make a lot more money coaching. And what are you talking about? I'm a journalist. And I said, okay, let me ask you this. You're a head football coach at a major Division I college program, and your highly recruited star quarterback just got pulled over for a DUI. Do you know how to handle that? Do you know how to write the press release? Do you know what you need to say when you step to the microphone? He said, of course. I've written the story 50 times. I know exactly. He said, you could be a coach. Believe me, they will hire you and they will pay you. If a new coach comes into a Division I program, do you know the press releases, the sound bites, you know how to keep them, from stepping on landmines? Absolutely. All right, you're a coach, Mark. And he said, can I get a copy of that Coach Builder book as he walked out the door? that's why I wrote the book, because I think there's people who have a lot of wisdom, especially us older folks. I'm 52. Somebody will say, am I too old to be a coach? Nobody's too old to be a coach. There are plenty of people who are too young, right? You don't have the chops yet. You don't have the experience. You don't have the Rolodex. Get some wins under your belt, and then turn around and help other people get some wins. But if you've got 5 years left to be a coach, you're probably going to be one of the best coaches on the planet, because you've got, 85 years behind you. And so, it's been fun. It's been fun to write this book and figure out ways for people who don't like promoting themselves to be able to do that and to generate business and make a good living doing it. Listen, I've got a friend who was a pastor for years, and he was a big old megachurch in Ohio, and they wanted him to run this school, and he didn't want to run the school. He didn't have a falling out with them, but they just had to go their separate ways. And I said to him, look, just spend a year coaching. Just spend a year. You got wisdom. Just spend a year coaching. He made more money the year that he coached than he'd made in the past 5 years as a pastor, and he still got to pastor all of his clients. And he will never. That was about 5 years ago. He will never go back. So you just don't know. Maybe it's time to pivot your career and start pouring into other people all the wisdom that you've gotten to save them a heck of a lot of trouble that they could get into. And I hope this book helps.
Well, let's take a hypothetical situation. Let's say someone had been an executive at Marriott, and then they got recruited by Disney, and they went on to run Walt Disney World for a decade. Is that someone that would make a good coach?
Yeah, I think they could probably intern with another coach and figure it out if you.
That if they read that book, they could get better at it, and maybe even.
Well, what's interesting, there are some books out there about how to coach. This book is really about how to make money coaching.
Yeah.
It's a little bit different, and Lee has done a fantastic job with his masterminds and one-on-one consulting relationships. And in fact, we have a thing called Master Coach. We do videos on YouTube where we interview people who have highly succeeded in one area of life and then turned around to start a coaching company and coached other people on how to do it. And Lee Cockerell's at the top of my list to bring on that show. So yeah, I would consider him a role model in this area.
So when Priscilla says, do you coach me like you do your clients? I say, ma'am, I don't coach you at all. So.
Yeah. You have to approach Priscilla different than the rest of us.
Yeah, my wife is not a paying client.
Yeah. You haven't told her, listen, honey, do you understand I'm in charge here?
I've told her, but I don't think she's listening. She said, "Yes, honey. Here's the garbage. Take it out."
Yeah,
that's great. Sounds like a great book.
Yeah, I think this book is really going to help people understand how to take their experience and then make money coaching. And Lee hears from we hear from a lot of former executives that they'll have a great career, 30, 40, sometimes even 40 years in, let's just say, hospitality. And afterwards, they're like, well, now what? I've really felt important in my role. And now I'm just kind of out on my own, hanging out at the coffee shop, and not much is going on. I don't think, Don, that they realize what a great coach they would be and what a great position they are to coach other people.
I have a good friend. His name is Will Guidara. You guys should have him on the show. Will wrote a book called Unreasonable Hospitality. It is a
great book,
probably in the top 100 on Amazon. It's one of the best business books I've ever read.
By the way, let me stop you there. I gave an all-day seminar yesterday to 84 veterinarians, and that's the book they've been using to.
It is.
That's the book. They talked about it all day.
Yeah, that book reads like a major motion picture. I love it. And Will is a restaurateur. That's pretty much all he's ever been since he graduated from Cornell, and ended up with the #1 restaurant in the world and learned how to do it. Made a lot of mistakes. He talks about those in the book, but ended up at #1 and sold those restaurants. And he's going to start another restaurant, he thinks. But in the meantime, he just kind of is doing a little hiatus coaching and consulting with Toyota and all sorts of other companies on how to practice unreasonable hospitality, which really boils down to figuring out the customer journey and surprising and delighting customers and caring about their humanity. And he figured out a product that he could sell really quick, go in and spend a day with people mapping out the customer journey, every touch point, and then figuring out how to turn every single touch point into something that's really magical, to use a phrase that you guys like. And if a restaurateur can do it that fast, so can you. And I think that's why I wrote the book, to just go, okay, and here's how. Because, okay, all right, Don, I can do that, but how? Well, here's how. There's 8 steps to it. It's not that difficult, and you'd be off to the races pretty quick.
Fabulous.
Well, this is a fabulous book if you want to get started in coaching. Donald told us there are books about how to coach. This one shows you how to make money coaching, which, if you can't make money coaching, it almost doesn't matter how you coach.
If you can't make money coaching, you're going to last about a week.
That's right. Okay, Donald, we have a couple of questions from a listener who's a big fan of yours. I didn't have time to get them in. Will you join us next episode and we'll address some of those questions?
I would love to.
All right. Well, we know Don's going to Disney World coming up. So if you want to go to Disney World and do a VIP tour, like Don was talking about, call our friends at Magical Vacation Planner. You can reach them at 407-442-2694. You can even say, hey, Donald Miller told me the best way to experience Disney World is a VIP tour. Set me up. And they'll do that. They'll do that for you.
By the way, this has become a tradition, because last March I was there, and I released a book called How to Grow Your Small Business, and I hid copies all around the Disney park and then put on Instagram where they were. I'd put one behind a bush here, behind a statue here. And this next book, Coach Builder, comes out March 12th, and I will be at Magic Kingdom on that day, hiding a few copies of books here. I don't know if I'm allowed to do that, but I'm going to do it.
That's a good idea. And I have this 4-part bookmark with the 7 dwarfs in it. And I do that. I leave them all in hotels. I leave them in the rooms, in the hallway. I go, if stores are closed, I stick one in the door. I haven't been arrested yet, so I guess
I didn't think about that. I'll bring a case.
Yours is cool, leaving a book.
Yeah. I might leave a book in the hotel rooms now. That's a good idea.
Yeah, I was at a coffee shop in Orlando just 2 days ago, and guess whose book was on the table where everybody sits? I saw a copy of Time Management Magic.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. I wonder who put that one there.
Wasn't me.
Yeah, of course, wasn't Lee. All right, well, Don, if we want to find your book, of course it's on Amazon, but where else can we find what you're up to? I know the book will be on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, local bookstores.
If you go to coachbuilderbook.com, I've got a PDF that has 27 websites. We actually just put them all on this PDF of 27 different coaches who are making at least 100 grand. Most of them are making a lot more than that, including a few that are making $1 million a year. Just because coaches kind of wonder what their website should look like. And so we just collected all the best ones that we could, asked for permission to do it, and grab that as a bonus when you get the book, coachbuilderbook.com.
All right, coachbuilderbook.com. Go there and get your copy. Until next week, go out and create magic for others.